welcome back to Independent Chick. I'm Dana Foster. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've got Miss Melissa, radio DJ. We've got Melanie Darling. She is an actress, comedian. And we have Tia Provici of Provici Cosmetics. Thank you so much for joining us. So today we are talking transportation. I want to know how independent you are within your transportation, whatever it is. So I always say transportation is whatever you have. Vehicle, taking the bus, walking or biking, whatever it is, you're taking ownership of it. So how independent are you with that?
Uber independent. I drive when I want. I don't have a driver, but I drive when I want, so I'm empowered. I've learned to drive standard, so I can drive standard or automatic. So I think that's really convenient in a city. But I'm always open to, I think like taking the bus is a cool adventure. Cab rides if I want to go for my little ethnic trip.
When you never do it, it's an adventure.
It's not that cool.
But you know, and I also think like the very European chic way of like, you know, incorporating the bike into your life to having activities is another great up and coming trend also.
I'm just like thinking about taking the bus in Winnipeg.
Like, look at me on the bus. That's every day.
Well, see, and I'm thinking, all right, this is kind of
You're
colorful.
thinking Europe and like a basket.
Well, I went to St. Mary's Academy where all the girls were very fancy, and I was taking the bus, and I introduced a lot of fancy girls to, and they were all like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Yeah, it wears off. It wears off.
Definitely does wear off, especially when you got to roll through the hood on like a hot, plus 35 day.
All right, so vehicles. Do either of you have plans to own, or do you own, or do you want to own? Do you have plans when you think about having a vehicle?
I don't really plan to own anytime soon. Like I said, I'm still single. I'm still working. I just like to save as much as I can. It's a huge commitment.
We're like non-committal right here.
I'd rather spend money on jet fuel and go on vacations.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah, right now I think for me it's actually a more independent decision not to have a car because there are other things that I'm placing as a priority. But
right.
I do, once I'm finished school, want to really focus on my comedy, and there are cities where it's harder to get around. So I do at that point want to get a car, get my license, do all that stuff. But right now it actually just works a lot better to walk everywhere or take the bus.
All right, and you have a vehicle.
Well, I come from a different perspective where we have two vehicles.
Right.
But I'm thinking environmentally conscious, and I live in the downtown core, and I should set an example. So we're going to be downsizing to one car. Hubby and I will coordinate when we need the car. And then there's a really new, interesting way of transporting that's becoming really popular all over very big metropolitan cities, and that's a car co-op.
I saw that.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's coming
What
to
is
Winnipeg.
that? What is it? It's in Winnipeg. There's a Winnipeg co-op thing.
Well,
What is it?
There's a new
Bike?
one that's supposed to be coming out in the exchange.
figure that out.
But the philosophy of this car co-op is you sign up to become a member, and you rent it per hour.
Oh.
Right? But it's at a very affordable rate. We'll say $10 an hour or
I
whatever.
think you have to put a fairly large deposit to join, and then it's like really cheap after that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Car sharing.
So what do you guys think that the most important thing in buying a vehicle? What's the most important thing? When
Don't
you
be
think
pressured to buy one. Like if you don't want to buy one, don't buy one.
Well, in like an actual vehicle, what do you think is most
I have
important?
no idea.
Okay.
I am the wrong person to ask. That it works, I guess.
Okay.
I think do your research, because I remember when my sister, both of us are kind of late bloomers, I still don't have my license, but she got hers a little later, and she just bought a car because she was like, well, I have enough money for this one, blah. And then when we found out later that it was a super easy car to steal and just like break into, and I was like, maybe do a little bit of reading, especially now with how easy it is to Google things. It's like, just do your research.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Melanie to do your research, but what I look for in a car is comfort. So for the winter, make sure you have heated seats. In the summer, make sure it's air conditioned. And when you're fighting with your hubby, make sure you have enough room so you can knock him out as he's driving. Those are the only things I look for.
And good speakers.
There you go.
Yeah, sound like superficial aesthetic things. Are those important to you? Color, sound systems, tinted,
Absolutely.
non-tinted,
Not really.
type
I
of
just want it to
vehicle?
go. Like that's really all I want to do. But I'm still kind of ratchet in my life, so I'm not really at that baller level yet. So
But let me tell you, baller level has a price to pay. You don't get to drive that fancy car because you're working to pay off that fancy car's bill.
Exactly.
If I were to look into your glove department, what would I find?
You'd find in mine sugarless gum, Kleenex, because a girl can never be shiny when she's making an appearance, and a map, old school style.
I don't know how to read a map, so I would probably go GPS on that one. But in my glove compartment, I'd probably have makeup, some candy, and some adult novelties, just in case.
Adult novelties?
Fun things.
Okay. All right.
Wow. Well, hopefully the damn manual would be nice. A map is always wise to have too, because you never know. And maybe like a lighter.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys got stranded, whatever your transportation is, are you going to know what to do?
Absolutely. I just call CAA.
Okay.
It depends if I have
But
service on my
you
phone.
don't have self-service because some
No
places where I have to travel to, there's nothing. There's no self-service. There's rarely any buildings around.
Really?
There's like maybe one Mountie every couple hours. So
I think you should see it as a priority, like because I've never even had my license, I haven't thought about it, but if I bought a car, I would take there's even leisure guide classes, like just basic maintenance. I would want to know that because I don't want to be in a situation where it's like, well, just gonna sit here until someone comes along.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
I'm
would totally
probably
be willing to do that.
disappointing
I
my
will
parents
sit.
right now with what I'm
Yeah.
about to say, but probably just like Google a safety pack to put in the trunk.
Yeah, then that's brilliant too. Until CAA or that Mountie comes.
all right, your gas tank, empty, quarter tank, half, or full?
Half.
Philosophically?
Where would it be, your actual gas tank?
Oh gosh, I would probably always be riding on just enough.
Yeah, quarter tank.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Thanks. So I think this was by far my favorite panel so far. Welcome back to Independent Chick. Today's episode, we are talking about transportation. And now we have the real experts from CAA, and they're going to be speaking with us about what you need to do in order to maintain your vehicle. So we have Angèle, and you are the Public and Government Affairs Coordinator with CAA. And Ken Francis, you are the CAA Career Specialist. Is that? We're going to go with that. So what do you think the most important thing a woman needs to know about maintaining her vehicle?
Well, some of the points that we try and make when we're doing our events, to develop a good relationship with your mechanic. And I think many of the ladies, they want to feel empowered to go into a shop and kind of understand what they're being shown. So when their mechanic is saying, you need a tune-up, I think they want to be armed with a little bit of knowledge to understand why that is.
Trust?
Yeah.
Do you think that's the biggest thing too, is having
For
a trust
sure, yeah.
relationship?
Having
between you?
trust, developing that relationship, yeah.
A relationship with your mechanic is pretty serious. So knowing that you guys you hold the clinics to educate women about just taking control of their vehicle, what are the common mistakes that you find women may make when maintaining their vehicle?
Well, not getting information ahead of time, and that may lead them to make rash decisions. And sometimes I do get phone calls from members and non-members that are confused about what they had done at their repair shop, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that I find.
So why did CAA decide to put on this program for women?
Our ladies' night at the garage workshops that we do, we realize that a lot of ladies, although they are very smart consumers in every aspect of their life, a lot of people just leave it to the guys in their life to do. But really, there's so much stuff that you need to know and you need to be empowered to do, because it's not rocket science. And I think with cars, a lot of ladies just think that's kind of the untouchable zone. So we just wanted to have a fun kind of evening to kind of release that kind of tension, because there is tensions between ladies and garages, and kind of just break down those walls.
Why do you think that women don't take responsibility when it comes to their vehicles, and that they just kind of put it to the side?
I think it really might go back to those gender stereotypes, right? But especially with new vehicles, we learn that a lot of guys know just as little about the vehicles than the girls do, right? Because of all the new technologies and stuff like that. So I think it really goes back to what you think you should know and what you don't. That makes sense?
Yeah. So what does CAA do? A lot of the girls that I speak to, they go, call in CAA. Is that the best way of thinking when it comes to if your car does break down? Just wait?
As a woman, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Right? And I know that, if I'm stranded at the side of the road, I'm wanting to do those kind of basic car service things on my own. Obviously, we know that CAA wait times, depending on the time of year, are going to be very long, and you don't want to be stranded somewhere. So to be able to do things yourself is always the best situation, especially for when it's simple things like the things that we do at Ladies' Night at the garage, topping off your windshield fluid, how to change your tire, just so you can get to that next spot, because you don't ever want to feel helpless. And when we have these Ladies' Night at the garages, then you can really test out your skills before it comes to an emergency situation where you might be a little frazzled. And
What kind of goes on in the workshops?
well, we go through different stations. So one of our stations is just about government regulations. So we actually just passed in Manitoba new regulations about how mechanic shops have to act and how they have to they protect themselves as protects ourselves as consumers. So we talk a little bit about that, and then we go through different stations. So how to change a tire, how to look for good winter tires, how to buy tires, how to check your air pressure, how to know when your air filter needs replaced, things like that. And they're not necessarily things that we will, we expect the ladies to do on their own, but just to know that you can if you needed to is reassuring.
Now, if you had been listening to our panelists, what were some of the things that you kind of heard that you're like, oh, I'd like to talk about that? What do you think? Things about having in your car, maybe. Let's address that.
Well, I found it interesting, some of the things they would have in their glove box, makeup and so. I was just thinking about what I had in my glove box, and they're all like functional items, like a map and insurance and
That's the one thing I thought of too. I'm like, where's your insurance?
Yeah, and some McDonald's, paper towels, but no makeup for me.
I think the biggest thing that was alarming was no one was planning for an emergency. Is what are you going to do? There's different things. We sell emergency kits at all of our service centers, and even things like when I'm looking at girls' shoes when they go out, right? Do you have a change of shoes in your car? Because I always do.
In the wintertime, I do when I travel because of that exact same situation.
Exactly.
Because of the...
So even things like just having a blanket, like simple things, blanket, water, extra food, and an extra thing of shoes, because you don't want to be changing a tire in your high heels.
Let's talk about that. Do you think it's safe for women to wear high heels when driving? I can't. No. I have to have... No. What about flip-flops?
It's hard to say. Like, I don't know the legalities around it either, but I know that nothing beats something that's solid on your foot. A flip-flop can fall off. It can go behind the brake. It can do all sorts of things, right? Same for a high heel. You don't have the same kind of control over your ankle and your foot. So, I mean, any kind of flat shoe is always preferable.
So I wanted to ask this question, since winter is coming. What do you think is the best, what type of tire is the best to have on your vehicle? Winter tires or all seasons?
Winter tires by far. And the common misconception about winter tires is that you actually should be putting them on when the temperature is hovering around 7 degrees Celsius. That's plus 7 degrees. Because that's when actually it's the rubber compound. A lot of people just think, oh, it's just a different kind of tire tread, but the physical rubber of both tires are different. So as soon as it reaches that 7 degrees and it's hovering around there for a steady amount of time, then the rubber in all season tires is going to harden, and that's what's going to make you slip a lot more. Whereas snow tires or winter tires are not going to get hard, and that's what they're designed for.
Yeah, I always thought all seasons are the easiest because then you don't have to worry about it.
But then if you have two sets of tires, they're both going to last twice as long, right? And they're both meant for very different things.
Smart.
Yeah.
I knew you guys were here for a reason. So I will ask you, your gas tank, empty, quarter tank, half, or full?
Today it's on a quarter tank, but it does fluctuate.
All right.
Half.
All right. Is it? I've heard that too. You should always have it over like about. It should always be at your half. It keeps your vehicle running at its best.
I've heard that too, where they recommend, especially in the wintertime, to keep more than half a tank of gas. And what that does is it helps keep the moisture content that could build up inside to a point where it won't freeze. If it does freeze, then your car may not start.
Okay. So what do you need to change a tire?
Definitely need whatever is in your car because that's really all you can rely on, but it should all be in that pack, your donut or your full tire, a jack, and then the wrench. It's all there.
Did we talk about what you should have in your emergency pack? All right. What should we have in our emergency pack?
Basically, you can get prefab ones at many stores like CAA. Basically, you definitely want to have a food source, so something that you can eat. Water that doesn't freeze, because if you put a water bottle, that's going to freeze in the middle of winter. Flares, so that if your car is in a ditch or something, that you can see them. Same for an emergency blanket, something that's going to keep you warm. A charged cell phone is always great if you have an extra one in there, and a call police banner, because sometimes, especially if you're stranded, you might want to just alert someone that you need help.
All right. Now we are going to actually learn how to change a tire. So we're now here at the vehicle. Ken, what are the first things that you need to think about when you're attempting to change a tire?
Well, I know it's never convenient when you experience a flat tire, but if you can and if you're able, is to pull over to a place that's safe, preferably something that's flat and with concrete where you can put your jack to raise the vehicle, and turn on your hazard lights to let everybody know that you've stopped moving. It's also a good idea to check your spare tire to make sure that your car has one and that you know where it's located.
Okay.
On some vehicles they are in different spots. On like SUVs they could be underneath the car. On sedans they could be underneath in the trunk.
Okay.
So these are things you should be familiarized before you even experience a flat.
All right. And high heels, scarves, and necklaces, it should be worn at all times when changing a tire?
Naturally, yeah, but
Okay.
you may find some of those
Right.
things get in your way when you're bending over
Okay.
and if you're in snow and water and so.
And high heels.
And high heels may not be the best thing.
Because
but-
we are safe and we have our extra pairs of flat shoes. So where we are ready to change a tire. So in this particular case, this car has a tire in the back.
All right, perfect. So let's pull this out.
Okay.
Yes, this
Right.
is the jack. This is what's going to lift the vehicle up.
Okay.
And we can take out our tire arm,
This also can be used as a weapon. Right?
and that can stay in the car.
This, okay. All right. We don't need the funnel.
Right.
Okay. So we are going to change the tire next.
All right. The jack's going to go on this lip here.
Okay.
So you see these two marks?
Right.
It would go right there.
Okay.
So you would set it up like so.
Oh, okay. So this
This
crease
is-
has to be under
Right.
here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to do it? Okay. Now what?
All right. So we've positioned the jack underneath the vehicle, and so that it goes
On the rail.
on the lip. Yeah.
Okay, the lip.
It can be different for each vehicle,
Okay.
and usually that information is in your owner's manual, or in this case, it's actually on the jack. It shows you
Okay. Oh,
exactly
okay.
where to put it.
So that's why you want your manual
Yeah.
in your glove department.
Yes, something that should be in there.
All right.
So now that we're lined up,
Yeah.
you can just start turning to raise the jack up.
Wait.
Give it a turn and see which way it's starting to
This?
To
Like
move?
that? That's how you turn it?
So you're going down.
Oh.
So we'll need to go the other way to go up. And when you get close to the top, we'll reposition it so that it's in the right spot.
Oh, okay. I see it's going up now. It's really awkward.
So do you feel like you need a lot of strength to be able to do this?
No, it's just tedious.
Nice. So in our CA emergency kit, there's actually a kneeling pad. Do you think that would come in handy
Yeah,
about
I think
now?
that would be really needed.
Off the ground.
That's good.
Perfect.
All right.
So what we're going to do now is continue removing the lug nuts. So you may have to use the lug wrench for that, just to
Okay.
finish getting them off.
And we want them to bring them fully off.
Right.
Okay. Wait. Now the tire.
Yep. Take the tire
Comes right off.
off. Might have to give it a little bit of a wiggle there. Careful for your fingers.
Oh.
Perfect.
Got it. Can you put it on the ground?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Same thing, just put it,
Turn it around.
turn it around.
Yeah, that actually goes
Oh,
inside.
so you had
So this-
it matching.
This deep part of the
Oh.
rim actually goes inside on the brake parts. Yeah.
Actually turn it around.
Yeah.
Okay. My dad would be so proud of me right now.
So we're just going to line up the 4 holes with the 4 studs
Okay.
and slide the tire on. So always got to be careful for your fingers.
Oh. So don't put them on the way
Yeah,
I was doing
I just don't want you to get them pinched in behind, but yeah, it's
What's
kind of
the-
awkward. Some people kind of grab them like this
Okay.
and just sort of lift it on. Yep, perfect. It looks like they're threading on really nice for you.
Okay. So just twisting them.
Yes, they should go on by hand first.
Okay.
That way they're not cross-threaded. Like when the threads don't match and it gets very tight.
Okay.
And at that point you're actually damaging either the threads or the nuts themselves.
Okay. Does it matter how?
Just
Tight?
a little bit for now. We'll tighten them up when the car's back on the ground.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
How long can you drive on a spare tire?
Really, these tires are meant to get you from where you're broken down to a
Okay.
repair facility.
Alright.
It's not something that you should be driving on for weeks or
Okay.
months. Yeah, they are rated for 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour only,
Oh, okay.
and about the same distance.
Okay. All right.
All right, so now we're going to lower the vehicle back down onto the ground.
Okay. You're testing me, aren't you? So you just go.
Yep, you'll figure it out.
Oh,
Opposite
this
of the way
one?
we
Okay.
work, yeah.
You should be able to figure this out.
If you go one
Am I-
way, it's going up, the other way it's down.
I can't tell. Good.
Yep, you were going the right way. It's also important to say that when the vehicle is up like that, that you don't put any part of your body underneath the car.
Okay.
There is a chance that it could
Yeah.
fall and you don't want to be under it, particularly if you're not on the best of surfaces.
Right. The car is falling, or
Yeah.
the tire is falling. I really hope the car's not falling on me. I'm a little nervous.
And that it's important that you don't over tighten them.
Yeah.
Because you can actually break them off and
Okay.
causes you more trouble. So I'll just do a check to see how tight. So we could have went a little tighter. Sorry.
Almost.
Yeah, we were pretty close. Did you want to
Okay.
check that to see how that feels to you?
Different. That's good. Good
Perfect.
job. So that's it. I did it.
Yay!